Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
So, wait, we've got Sarah walking in here dressed like a paralegal.
Yeah. Actually, that's a really good call. Yeah. And they go through the
Singing
questions.
Baby Shark.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Rom-Com Rewind Podcast.
Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Devin.
And like you, I love rewatching movies over and over again.
You found us. You made it here. You're listening. You love romantic comedies. We do as well.
So this is a show where we rewatch rom-coms, break them down a bit for you, maybe take a peek behind the curtain, dig beneath the surface, and decide, does it still hold up?
Today we have The Devil Wears Prada. And before we get into it, if you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, subscribe, follow. If you want to reach out, you can do that by emailing romcomrewind@gmail.com. You can message us on TikTok or Instagram at romcomrewind. Sarah and I are pregnant. We're having our first child. And a few episodes back, we talked about on the backup plan a snot sucker product.
Yes, yeah.
That is horrible. And
There's
it
a
is
filter.
disgusting. And we also posted it on our Instagram account just to see what you thought about the snot sucker product. And just so you know, it is a tube with a filter.
Yeah,
goes
filter.
one end goes into your mouth, the other goes into the baby's nose.
Suck the snot out of your baby's nose. Again, there is a filter.
So Mad says, I have a baby, and this is so wrong. Thank you. I agree. Most comments, though, were on the positive for the snot sucker.
I was going to say, are you just going to read the negative ones?
There's like 3 negative ones.
Not the negative ones. I shouldn't say the negative ones. Just the ones that wouldn't use it.
Yeah, you know what? I can read only the negative ones if you want.
No.
Emily,
No.
all caps, don't get this. Gross. I will get you one of the little ones that's like a turkey baster. I refuse to get this for anyone. So, Married to the Andersons says, it's incredible and gross. Used it with my first and onto my second now. Replaced the filters, but it is so good. But she admits that it's
See?
gross.
I mean, the concept of it is you got to get past it. It's like when they made green and purple ketchup. You know, I just couldn't get past it.
Sarah,
You
do not
just
compare
have to,
this
you
to
just
like
have to get past
a
the thought of
genuine
it.
edible product. Okay? That's just ketchup with green food
Oh,
coloring.
but it's
We're
so
talking about
gross.
snot going through a tube from the nose into
Or when they dyed Wonder Bread. Do you remember
Oh,
when
I
they
actually don't remember.
Oh, okay, yeah, they dyed Wonder Bread and I couldn't get past it either.
Lise said, I laughed so hard during that portion of the episode. Don't have that brand, but definitely worth it. A
See?
snotty, upset kid is not fun for anyone. So sometimes
Exactly.
you got to do what you got to do.
You got to do what you got to do.
I disagree,
I like that.
Lise.
I agree.
There are some things I won't do.
Wholeheartedly.
And that is one of those things. That's horrible.
I think when our child needs like his snot sucked out, you're going to
Just trying to say that as if it's a normal conversation. The words that you're saying right now, if you want to join in on some of these conversations on our Instagram at Romcom Rewind. So The Devil Wears Prada is a 2006 comedy drama with some romance in there,
Yeah.
directed by David Frankel. It's based on the 2003 novel by Lauren Weisberger. This is the story of Andy, played by Anne Hathaway. She is a freshly graduated journalist who stumbles upon a junior personal assistant job under Miranda Priestley. Dun, dun, dun! Played by Meryl Streep. Now, Miranda Priestley is the editor-in-chief of Runway magazine, which is kind of like a Vogue, but like not Vogue. And that gig Andy stumbled upon is, quote, a job that millions of girls would kill for. Andy is kind of meh about it. She wants to be a legitimate journalist, and she's in this fashion magazine thing. But Miranda Priestley is not one to be trifled with, and Andy finds herself in extremely challenging situations trying to impress her new boss, as well as her co-workers, Emily, played by Emily Blunt, and Nigel, played by Stanley Tucci, all while juggling her relationship with Nate, played by Adrian Grenier, and a suave New York Times freelancer, Christian Thompson, played by Simon Baker. That is our lead into The Devil Wears Prada. What are your thoughts?
Miranda Priestley's the editor-in-chief of Runway.
So you don't read Runway?
No, not to mention a legend.
And before today, you'd never heard of me?
No. You work a year for her, and you can get a job at any magazine you want.
You have no style or sense of fashion. No. That wasn't a question.
I love this movie. Yeah. I have not seen this movie in a while. A few years, I'd say. God, I love it. It is so good. It is everything you want in a dramedy. Every single person they cast, in my opinion, because I know, like, and I'll go through this in my quick facts, but there were a lot of people considered for these roles.
Oh, really?
Before they landed on, you know, the cast.
Meryl
The cast
Streep,
that
right.
they have.
Okay.
They nailed it. I don't think I could. I personally couldn't see anybody else. I don't know if that differs for you, but that's okay.
There's one person I could not see anyone else playing. Like,
okay.
Definitively. You know what? I'll just say it. I'll explain it later. But Meryl Streep, definitively, there is not a single other actress who I think could play the role the way she did. Anyway, sorry.
She killed it.
Oh,
like, You loved to hate her, but you still loved her, you know?
She was just endearing enough.
Yes.
Yeah.
The lines were written to perfection. The acting was phenomenal. The writing was amazing. It did differ from the novel here and there. And I just think the pieces that differed worked. It was just a really fantastic movie. I love this movie.
This was actually my first time watching The Devil Wears Prada in full. I've seen like scenes and stuff here and there walking by while somebody else was watching it.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah.
What? Oh
yeah,
my
I know.
God.
It was so lovely to watch this movie for a first time. Like most of the movies that we do on this pod are things that, you know, I mean, 95% of the time I've already seen.
Yeah, one of us have seen it or parts of it. Yeah.
It is so clear why this is an instant classic. Like, first off, it's just an excellent movie. My biggest takeaway is that I think that it kind of challenges you, the audience, to really consider your own morals through the lens of Andy and the decisions that she makes. Specifically, and like, I think we've all like lived our lives and probably changed based on situations we're put into. Like, Andy is thrust into this world of fashion. Miranda Priestley is the epitome of over-the-top, dramatic, excessively demanding, and somewhat evil boss. But to fit in, Andy does what I think a lot of us do occasionally, and she kind of changes herself a little bit to be more like that fashion culture.
You change to survive.
To be more like Miranda. And somewhere along the way, she kind of became too much like Miranda. She lost herself a little bit. And like, aside from the fact that it's just a great movie, I thought that that was a very relatable thing, and that there are times where maybe you act a little bit differently than you're used to, and you're like, is that really me though? Maybe that's not. Maybe I shouldn't do that. And you're challenged in those ways. And I think that this movie really showed, like, Andy wanted so badly to impress Miranda Priestley, but ultimately it was just a really toxic way of going about it. Like, to do that, to change yourself so much and to be so much not like who you actually are.
But I think, for me, that's such a, I don't know, I kind of have a little bit of a different take on it.
Really?
I don't think she was as toxic as the movie wanted her to be perceived. Like, I don't think she was a Miranda Priestley. Like,
no, I don't think so either.
There's a point around 57 minutes in, Nigel tells Andy that when her entire life falls apart, it will be time for a promotion. It's only when she is promoted from second to first assistant that she hits rock bottom. But when Nigel tells Andy that, part of that is true. When your personal life is falling apart, it means you're being so in the fashion world, or in a world like that where you are going a mile a minute nonstop. You're somebody's assistant in this case, or you're answering to someone who's higher up, who is so intelligent, fantastic at their job, and is so important in that industry, that your life becomes that. And you're doing well when everything else falls apart. And
that's super unhealthy.
It's
like,
super
that
unhealthy.
is not a good culture to have at work.
Absolutely,
like,
100%. But I just found that, like, I was like, yeah, like, in this industry, I'm sure that that's what that's like.
Yeah. So first off, the movie opens with the song, Suddenly I See, Suddenly I See.
That's why it was in my head the entire week.
We also did another movie extremely recently that also had Suddenly I See. I think around like mid-2000s, that was, hey, we're doing a rom-com or a romantic dramedy or a comedy. We're just going to throw it in here. But we open more or less with Runway Magazine. We see Emily, played by Emily Blunt, Everybody's kind of scrambling, figuring out what to do because Miranda Priestley is on the way.
She's on her way. Tell everyone.
She's not supposed to be here until 9.
Her driver just text messaged, and her facial is ruptured a disc. God, these people.
All right, everyone, gird your loins.
And in walks Anne Hathaway's character, Andy. It's her first day on the job. The HR department just basically was like, hey, we've got a journalist here looking for a gig. She's now Miranda Priestley's second assistant. Do you have any worst first days of work stories?
I don't have a story on the worst first day, but I do have a story about like the worst interview. I was interviewing for a summer camp gig. So when I went in to go interview, my mom had told me, you're going for your first bigger interview. You need to dress the part. So we went out and we bought dress pants and a white collared shirt for me.
How old were you?
I think I was 16. And but it was my first like full interview at like a place where like you'd think that you'd need to dress a little bit more proper.
Okay.
So I go in and I do the interview and I can see everybody else kind of waiting to go in as well after me or before me, and they're dressed quite down, like they're in shorts or they're in like a t-shirt and like a nice pair of pants or jeans or whatever. And
It's a
I'm
summer
like,
camp position.
yeah, okay, one would think. So here I am dressed in a collared shirt with my hair, nicely done, and my black, and at that point it was like a little bit of like a wide leg black dress pants. So we go in, I do my thing, I sing my little song because you had to sing a song or tell a joke or
you
play
mean
a game.
literally you sang a song?
Yeah.
What?
That was part of the interview. That was part of the interview. You either had to sing a kid's song, play a kid's game, like a camp game, or tell a joke. Of course, I'm horrible at telling jokes. I really can't sing for my life. And games, I do love games. So I think I sang Baby Shark.
So, wait, we've got Sarah walking in here dressed like a paralegal.
Yeah. Actually, that's a really good call. Yeah. And they go through the
singing
questions.
Baby Shark.
Yeah. So I leave, and then I find out later in the summer, after I'm hired, after I'm working, whatever, that everyone who interviewed me was making fun of me because I was the only one that dressed in dress pants and a white collared top.
Of course.
And everyone else like was dressed down, really like chill for like a camping. I was made fun of, and I found out later that everyone who worked in that department totally made fun of me. I was mortified.
Like, is she going to be a counselor, or is she just going to sell car insurance to kids?
Oh my God,
like,
honest to God. And I was, oh my God, I just remember. And like looking back, I'm glad I wore what I wore because like, I was taking it seriously. But I was so mad. Oh my God, like I was so mad. I was like, Mom, you made me dress like this. And oh yeah, it was good. So Andy actually has to interview with Miranda Priestley.
So you don't read Runway?
No.
And before today, you had never heard of me?
No.
And you have no style or sense of fashion?
Well, I think that depends on what you're...
No. That wasn't a question.
So Miranda basically dismisses her, like I said, and then she just leaves. Andy's like, I didn't get the job, whatever. Miranda's a badass bitch, though. And as she's leaving to walk out the door, Emily calls her or runs after her and says, come on, let's go back up. And so Andy does get the job. And I think it's just based on the little speech that Andy gives her saying, like, I will learn quick and I will be good at my job and whatever. And anyway, so she does get the job. Her first day in the job, she's late. She has no idea what she's doing.
I need 10 or 15 skirts from Calvin Klein.
Okay, what kind of skirts do you...
Please bore someone else with your questions. And make sure we have Pier 59 at 8 a.m. tomorrow. And remind Jocelyn I need to see a few of those satchels that Mark is doing in the Pony. And then tell Simone I'll take Jackie if Maggie isn't available. Did de Marchelier confirm?
De Marchelier?
De Marchelier? Did he get him on the phone?
But she really, like, in my opinion, she really should be prepared in writing things down. Like, when I was an assistant for somebody, I always had my notepad or my laptop on me, and I was always taking notes.
This is very fascinating, actually.
Okay.
Because, so your boy Devin, actually, at my normal 9 to 5, I do manage a team of people, and I recently hired somebody to be, like, more or less an assistant, and she wasn't writing things down. And I did tell her, I'm like, listen, if you need to ask me for clarification once, totally cool. If you need to ask me twice, you probably should have written it down.
Oh my god.
She's like, you know what, you're right. I'm like, please write things down. Just like, you know what, one time, fair enough. Like things are moving quick. You gotta get up to speed quickly. That's tough. Twice though.
Interesting. Wow, Devin.
Is that mean? Am I a Miranda Priestley at work?
You're a bit of a hard ass. Wow.
She got it. She's like, yeah, you know what? I should have written that down.
I
Yeah,
mean,
okay.
I agree. She should be, like, in this case, Andy should have been prepared with notes and, like, with a notepad or something and taken them. Like, you don't show up on your first day without at least looking like you care.
Then again, Miranda Priestley is being ridiculous. She's just yelling at Andy. She calls her the wrong name for, like, 30 minutes of the movie.
Oh, I think a little bit more,
and
but
she's just, like, yelling, get Hans Gruber on the line. Like, who the f*** is that? I don't know. How are you supposed to know that? That's ridiculous.
I love that they push the envelope with how ridiculous and audacious Miranda is with her like her desires or her wants or her demands.
I think Hans Gruber is actually the villain from the first Die Hard movie. So
I think you might be right. Get him on the phone.
Meryl Streep really wanted to talk to
another villain.
The villain from Die Hard, yeah.
Oh my god. And this is when Miranda talks about her sweater and how it was chosen by the people in that room.
This was a fun scene, but it was also a little bit like drinking the fashion Kool-Aid, because Andy is still very much like not in on the fashion game.
Step into the world of power, loyalty, and luck.
I'm gonna make him an offer he can't refuse.
With family, cannolis, and spins mean everything.
Now, you wanna get mixed up in the family business.
Introducing The Godfather at ChumbaCasino.com. Test your luck in the shadowy world of The Godfather slot.
Someday, I will call upon you to do a service for me.
Play The Godfather now at ChumbaCasino.com.
Welcome to the family.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
And Nigel and Miranda are trying to figure out like a belt for something.
Yeah.
And Andy kind of like chuckles because this is ridiculous. The two belts look the same.
And they
and
do.
Miranda like kind of takes her down and is like, that sweater that you got at Value Village or wherever.
You're also blithely unaware of the fact that in 2002, Oscar de la Renta did a collection of cerulean gowns. And then I think it was Yves Saint Laurent, wasn't it, who showed cerulean military jackets? I think we need a jacket here. And then cerulean quickly showed up in the collections of 8 different designers. And then it filtered down through the department stores and then trickled on down into some tragic casual corner where you no doubt fished it out of some clearance bin. However, that blue represents millions of dollars and countless jobs.
And I think Andy was kind of making headway with Miranda, where like she was kind of becoming in her good books. But the next piece of this movie is I like to call the montage of all the insane requests from Miranda.
She had to drop everything. To try and get like the National Guard in to get Miranda Priestley home. And she was obviously unsuccessful, and Miranda was livid about it. She held it against her.
Reams Andy out the next day. On Andy's side, she goes to visit Nigel in the fashion department, like where all the clothes are housed and everything like that. And I wish, that's the one wish that I have for this movie, is that I actually got to see a montage of like...
Oh, shut up. The whole movie was a montage of fashion.
Oh, yeah, but like I wanted more, you know? I did want to see her like become kind of like a Princess Diaries montage where she like got made over.
We kind of did, though.
A little bit. I mean, he says, oh, what size are you? And she's like a 6. He goes, oh, like, I don't know how much will fit you. And then he like chooses some things and like gives them to her. And then that's kind of it. I wanted more. I wanted more, Devin.
Well, okay. Question.
Okay.
John Krasinski, we know him from The Office as Jim.
Jack Ryan.
He is married to Emily Blunt, who plays Emily in this movie.
Yes.
And there's this funny clip that went around a couple years ago of Emily Blunt telling this story of how John Krasinski actually loves this movie.
There's a sort of montage sequence where Annie Hathaway's got numerous fabulous outfits that they go through. And John, one day I came home and he was watching it. And he was watching the montage bit and he goes, and that's my favorite outfit.
I'm wondering if we can take guesses at what our 2 favorite outfits are and maybe what the 2 worst outfits are. Because you're right. Nigel does this fashion makeover of Andy, and now all of a sudden, for the entire rest of the movie, girl's glammed up. She is fashioned up. She's wearing...
I love her hair.
I don't know any of the brands she's wearing, but I assume they're expensive and lovely.
I would agree that they are expensive and lovely. Yes. Okay. So, do you want me to go first?
Actually, you know what? Why don't you just show me and I'll explain what your picks are. So give me your best.
Okay. So my best is.
This is great because I know nothing about fashion. So you listening are going to hear this through the lens of Devin, knowing nothing.
So my best is I really like this one.
Okay. Okay. So that's the green dress coat. It's got like leopard print wrists and a leopard print. It's not a shawl. It's like a leopard tail trying to choke her around the neck a little bit.
Oh my god.
A neck scarf? It's a scarf.
No, it's not a scarf.
Okay. Okay, and white gloves. All right.
Okay.
What is it actually though? That's a pretty
You know
close.
what? You're pretty darn close, like I have to say. I would say that it is a dress coat.
Oh,
it's a type of dress coat, but I would say it's a pea coat.
Oh, it is a pea coat. You're right.
You're right.
It's a pea coat.
But I love the matching gold shoes with her green pea coat. I can't remember what she wore underneath that, but I love the coat. The coat is just such a statement with the color.
Okay, what's your worst pick?
Okay, my worst pick is this one.
Right. She's wearing the classic mid-2000s. It's not a fedora and it's not a flat cap. It's kind of somewhere in the middle. I don't know why everybody liked those. Then she's got like weird, like very... Is that bohemian would be the vibe of the necklaces?
Wow.
Is boho a thing?
Yeah.
Is that a way to describe that? Probably not.
I mean... Maybe a little. I don't
know. And the rest of the outfit kind of looks like a casual nun sort of vibe. It's very black and white with like
oh my god,
a white collar.
Oh my god, I never would have put nun together, but like I kind of see it like a modern day nun. If the nuns decided that they were going to modernize their outfits.
Exactly. That's what she looks like.
Or I shouldn't say outfits. Yeah. Their attire. Yeah, I hate this one. I hate the hat.
Oh yeah.
I absolutely hate it.
So, and if I'm going to pick what I think John Krasinski thought was the best outfit, it's when she meets Christian Thompson. She's wearing like an all black, kind of like a new wave goth sort of vibe with like long shawly, not shawl, but like she's got like long like loose necklaces.
Yep.
Black high boots, heels. Yeah. And like it's like a long coat thingy going on.
I like that.
Yeah, I like that too. I think that's probably what John Krasinski saw as the best outfit.
Okay, what's the one that you don't like?
Like early on, it might even be her first outfit. She's wearing this
cerulean blue?
No, not the cerulean blue. But she's wearing like a navy kind of like blazer.
Okay.
With an emblem on the chest.
Oh.
It looks like a
prep school.
It looks like a British football club kind of vibe.
God.
Yeah, like Manchester United. I don't know anything about football, but
I'm sorry.
That's what it looks like.
Sorry, hold on. What was that?
Well, we can move on. That was a bad impression. I don't know how many listeners we have from the UK, but there's definitely some.
Please disregard that.
I apologize.
Yeah. I did really like her black dress that she wore to the gala, like the benefit that she wore.
Oh yeah, that one was good too.
That was beautiful.
But that one, like, I think that was the vibe because Miranda Priestley, Emily, and Andy were all wearing like black dresses.
Yeah.
So that was, that wasn't a statement piece. That was I'm gonna go along with the vibe piece.
So before I get to the unachievable request and demand that Miranda makes of Andy, Andy goes out with her friends that night and Nate, her boyfriend, after work and brings gifts for everyone, stuff that Miranda doesn't want. And honestly, like that would be for me one of the best perks of the job, getting designer items for free. But the discussion that arises between her and her friend Lily is that like, how many bags do girls need? Like you can never have enough bags, especially designer bags.
Stop it.
You can never have enough designer bags.
You absolutely can have enough shoes and bags.
If they're free, though, if they're free designer bags, like I wouldn't spend that much money on designer bags. Like I literally have used the same purse since like
I was about to say, we had a designer bag in our basement for like 3 years that you did not know
about. What bag?
I can't remember.
Oh.
It was the one that was brown.
I don't remember.
That's all I know about the bag as well, because it's been in our friggin' basement for 3 years.
Okay, well, maybe I'll have to use it then.
I think I gave it to your mom and you didn't even notice.
Oh. I like when you get rid of things of mine and you don't tell me and I don't realize. That means that's not a good thing.
Yeah, if you don't realize, that proves my point that we didn't need it to begin with. Anyway.
That evening, she gets a call from Miranda Priestley telling her to go and pick something up from a party that James Holt. It's James Holt, his party. And And Andy has to go there and pick up some designs for the next season. And while there, she meets
Christian Thompson.
Yes. He's
journalist.
Yes, he's a journalist. And he's like a weird, suave, arrogant, but charming.
He's like that university professor who you're a little bit too friendly with some of your students kind of vibe, you know?
Ooh, I could see that. Yeah, you're almost creepy if you were a professor.
Yeah, but he is a good-looking guy, so you're maybe he's just nice. But we definitely know that his intentions are not pure when it comes to Andy.
Yes, this is very true. And he somehow, he does know that, maybe not at this point, but he does find out later on that she does have a boyfriend.
This is a tough one because he is a New York Times, but he's a freelance writer. Right. So he's exactly who she wants to be talking to because before she got this job at Runway, she wanted to be a legitimate journalist. So despite the fact that Christian Thompson is very good looking and he's clearly hitting on her, there's a little bit of professional, hey, you could help me out with my career vibes here.
Yeah, and he actually offers. He says, send me some of your work and I'll take a read through and let you know. The next few weeks, I guess, she actually does end up becoming a little bit more successful in her job. And you can kind of tell she's really getting her feet under her. And she is asked to bring the book, so the Runway draft of the next magazine, over to Miranda's house. And the first assistant, well, the second assistant does it, but only once Miranda has fully trusted. So up until this point,
it's only been Emily who's been doing it.
Emily has been doing this. Instead of following the exact rules set out by Emily, she listens to Miranda's twin girls who are literally trying to sabotage Andy, and goes upstairs and catches Miranda and her husband in a fight.
It's not a good look.
This is where the unachievable task comes into play.
Miranda, about last night,
I need the new Harry Potter book for the twins.
Okay, I'll go down to Barnes & Noble right now.
Did you fall down and smack your little head on the pavement?
Not that I can recall.
We have all the published Harry Potter books. Twins want to know what happens next.
You want the unpublished manuscript?
Well, we know everyone in publishing. It shouldn't be a problem, should it? And you can do anything, right?
She goes all over the city, tries to call everyone, gets to get this unpublished manuscript, and then she thinks to call Christian Thompson, which, why? But whatever. I guess it's the story.
It works, Sarah.
I know. And
he is a writer for the New York Times.
He comes through for her.
He gets it.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
And now we get to the benefits. So there's this big gala sort of thing going on. Miranda Priestley has both her assistants, Andy and Emily, there. And a common storyline through this movie, kind of a subplot, is that Emily, the first assistant, is just so psyched for Fashion Week in Paris.
I get to go with her to Paris for Fashion Week in the fall. I get to wear couture, I go to all the shows and all the parties, I meet all of the designers. It's divine.
And Miranda is really looking at Emily to help her out in terms of, okay, somebody's walking up to me. Who is that man? What do I need to say? What are the key points? And Emily kind of waffles a few times because she's got a cold. She's not feeling super well. And Andy jumps in. She read all the same stuff that Emily read about who's going to be here. And she is like, oh, that's the ambassador to Hungary, Hans Gruber. Still making Hans Gruber jokes.
Oh, my God.
And more or less, Miranda realizes, hey, you know what? She takes Andy aside after that and says, I need my best team in Paris, and Emily's no longer my best team. You're my best team. You're going to Paris with me. A side thing here is that, like you talked about, when your personal life is struggling, you're probably due for a promotion at work. Andy's now going to Paris. When she gets home after that benefit, Nate is there, and he's really upset because it was his birthday, and Andy just blew it off, couldn't go because of the benefit. So Andy and Nate are clearly struggling. Then she finds out, hey, I'm going to Paris. Promotion happens. Miranda kind of sucks, though, because she's like, Emily's going to be here in about 10 minutes. Why don't you go ahead and give her the news?
That's ruthless.
That is ruthless.
Like, that is like, I'm going to pin my 2 assistants against each other when I don't need to, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Exactly. Yeah. And Emily actually ends up getting into an accident. So theoretically, she probably couldn't have gone to Fashion Week in Paris anyway.
Yeah.
But Andy does go to the hospital and she reveals to her, hey, Miranda wants me to go instead. Dun, dun, dun.
Which, like, I think honestly was the best case scenario. Like, I hate to say this, that she got hit by a car, because it made it
softened
easier.
The blow a little bit.
Yeah, it made it easier for Andy to tell her that she wasn't going, because if she hadn't been hit by a car, she would still possibly be able to go.
Do you have any worst boss you've ever had? Stories or moments or things?
So I once got in a little bit of trouble for giving a guy who came into the office a bag of rocks.
Rocks. You got in genuine trouble for that.
No, not like, well, like I just got like, I got talked to where it's like, don't do that again.
What?
And I was like, okay,
I have so many questions.
There's a lot of questions that would go with this. Yep.
Okay, first of all, where were you working? That rocks were a valued commodity.
So I used to work with a bunch of geologists.
Okay, that makes
if that makes sense.
So they are special rocks in some way.
They were special rocks, and the guy told me that he had permission to take the rocks, so I allowed him to take the rocks.
Jesus, what a weird.
Because I was told I could. Like, he told me that he was told that he could take them.
You've got a requisition form here for rocks. Oh, yeah, you've come to the right place.
And
we have those.
It turned out that I was not supposed to let those rocks go. And it's not like it was just like you shouldn't have done that. Don't do it again.
What was significant about the rocks?
I honestly, I can't remember.
Sarah's
because
not the geologist
rocks.
here.
Like, I am not a geologist.
She's just doling out the rocks.
I'm just giving the rocks to whoever asks and tells me that they can take them.
Was he actually like a coworker or employee,
he
or
was
was
retired, I think, from like where I worked. In retrospect, I probably should have asked a few more questions. Clearly,
but you're not expecting like a random guy off the street to be like, "Hey, you guys got any rocks in there?" Like, yeah, sure do, buddy.
They say someone else's garbage is
one man's rock is another man's special rock.
I guess. Oh God, yeah.
So now Andy's going to Paris. And her and Nate actually break up around this point, or they take a little break.
Yeah, they do. Nate's not really being that supportive. Lily kind of catches Christian kissing Andy on the cheek at her art gallery opening. Like, clearly they're flirting. It's hard because, is that wrong? Yeah. It's not like they were making out, kissing, whatever. And some people greet each other by kissing each other on the cheek.
Okay. That was not what was happening, Sarah.
Wait, let me finish. The way that was done was not, a greeting or a goodbye. Like, that was like a...
That was, I want to bang you later. Like,
yes.
Kiss on the cheek. You're going to Paris. Awesome. I'll be there too. Christian's also in Paris, by the way, everybody.
Yes. So Andy is in Paris with Miranda, and Andy goes to bring some things to Miranda's room, and Miranda is there, quite sad, and Andy finds out that Miranda's husband is leaving her. And it does, in fact, show that she does have a bit of a heart.
And that's back to the, 95% of this movie is Miranda being horrible. But, you get, 30 seconds where you do...
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. That should brighten your day a little. Actually, a lot. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. See terms and conditions. 18+.
You just feel for her a little bit. You understand the life that she's living. She's been living Andy's life for the last 40 years. The nonstop fashion is everything. My personal life can fall to the wayside a little bit. And yeah, it is sad, and she's kind of broken, and she's like, get my PR person on the line. We need to make sure this doesn't blow up. And, I'm the crazy lady who keeps on getting divorced. We don't want that to be the headline.
And I think it shows a little bit of what Andy's future would be if she continued on that pathway.
Foreshadowing. I like it. We're going to hear more about that foreshadowing in moments.
So that same night, she goes over to see Nigel, and he has some good news. He is getting a promotion that Miranda is putting him up for. to be the partner for James Holt's new company launch across Europe, internationally anyway.
Yeah.
And he is stoked. He knows that he knows that he deserves this promotion. He is so pumped about it. He worked so hard for it, and they cheers and they celebrate. Along with that same night, Andy actually goes on a date with Christian.
Oh, Christian Thompson.
Yes.
Here we go.
She ends up staying the night with him. And as she's leaving that morning, because she's super late, because she sleeps in, finds out that Miranda is being replaced by Jacqueline. And Christian is going to work for her at Runway, all the while Miranda doesn't know. So Andy goes right away to go and tell Miranda.
The drama. Yes, so Andy runs to Miranda to try to reveal to her, you're being double-crossed, you're going to get replaced. Miranda's just kind of buzzing her off, waving her off. And then she has this speech at this ceremony. And she reveals that Jacqueline is actually the one going to be launching this thing with James Holt. What happened behind the scenes is that Miranda heard that they were trying to replace her with Jacqueline.
You thought I didn't know. I've known what was happening for quite some time. It just took me a little while to find a suitable alternative for Jacqueline. And that James Holt job was just so absurdly overpaid that of course she jumped at it. So I just had to tell her that Jacqueline was unavailable.
Jacqueline's going to go in that spot. She's going to do this thing for James Holt. I'm going to stay as chief editor of Runway, and Nigel gets and he's just in the same spot. And Nigel learns this during that speech. Like, he's literally sitting there making eyes at James Holt like, oh my God, it's going to happen. And then Miranda reveals that it's not him going to be launching that.
Shattering Nigel's dreams and a well-deserved promotion.
Oh, my God. That was heartless. She was the one with the knife that was just poking people in the backs with it.
She knew the whole time what was going on, all the movements and moving pieces behind the scenes, and she knew what she needed to do in order to stay on top.
Yeah, so when Andy was trying to save her from getting fired, Miranda even says, like, it was so inspirational how you were trying to save me. Wow, thank you so much, but I was the mastermind behind it all.
But what if this isn't what I want? I mean, what if I don't want to live the way you live?
Oh, don't be ridiculous, Andrea. Everybody wants this. Everybody wants to be us.
And I found during the relationship between Andy and Miranda, no matter how pissed Andy was at Miranda or vice versa, she was always at her beck and call.
Yeah.
And the way Andy quits her job, it's not flashy. It's not anything outrageous. She just walks away. She leaves. So the limo stops. Miranda gets out. All the photographers are on here. She's walking up the steps. She looks back. No Andy. Andy pieced out. She's literally just walking past a fountain through Paris. And it was kind of the simplest way to be the most destructive to Miranda Priestley, in that it's not like, I'm not going to blow up. I'm not going to yell at you. I'm just not here. You have nobody.
Yeah, I'm not doing it anymore.
Nobody's here to help you. Oh, love it. I actually put on our Instagram best quitting stories. I don't have a good quitting story. Sarah, do you have a good quitting story?
No, I don't have a good quitting story, unfortunately.
Okay, thank God. Danielle on our Instagram does have a good quitting story.
Okay, I'm excited.
Said, I was working a crappy summer job that ran until October when I had just completed my teaching degree. I was missing out on some days because I was working on this crappy job. We had a rule to only have a certain radio station on in the workplace. Hilarious. But this one coworker I hated insisted on changing the station every song, pretty much. She really drove me up the wall, but about halfway through September, she peeled the tape off the tuner on the radio to change the station, and I just grabbed my purse and walked right out the door without saying anything and never returned.
Oh.
Peeled the tape off the tuner, so that means they actually had to tape it to the appropriate spot.
Yeah.
And a few other just stories I've seen. First job, working at a little barbecue place with a drive-thru. My day off, manager calls me at 8:30 a.m., 30 minutes before they open, saying she doesn't feel good and needs me to open. I rush in and end up working all day. 5 p.m. rolls around, manager comes in with the owner of the business who she's dating. They were at the fair all day and completely forgot that they had lied to me about her being sick. I bit my tongue and asked if I can go home. They said no. to keep that person until close, 9 p.m. At 9 p.m., I took my shirt off, handed them my keys, and said, today was my last day. Walked out the door shirtless. Nice. Love it.
Oh, my gosh.
Close to, I mean, Andy's was a little bit more subtle, but I think very impactful.
Yeah, and there's actually a really one of the more famous quotes from this movie in this scene where Miranda says to Andy, everyone wants to be us. And in that moment, I think it solidifies for Andy, she doesn't want this. She doesn't want to do this forever. And she doesn't want to be a Miranda Priestley. And so that's when, she gets out of the car and just beelines it to the fountain, throws her phone in there and says, see you later. She does meet with Nate after for coffee and finds out that Nate is leaving New York for, I think, Boston.
Yep.
And
he's going to be a sous chef.
And he invites Andy with him. I think, right? Like
that was kind of implied.
That vibe.
Andy does get a job at a newspaper, though, so maybe she's not going to follow Nate to Boston. She has this interview with this guy, and he asks about her time with Runway, and barely there a year. He reveals to Andy, I actually called the Runway office. Some mean lady named Emily answered the phone or something like that. But later we got a fax that day from Miranda Priestley herself, and the letter of recommendation said, Andy was my biggest disappointment as a personal assistant. You'd be a fool not to hire her, kind of thing. Which was really like, it was cute and it was sweet. It was Miranda Priestley, obviously upset of how Andy left, but wants her to still do well. Like she's not as bitter about it, I guess. And there's
I liked the way it was done.
I was going to say, it was a very beautiful way it was done. It was a very Miranda Priestley way. We see later on the streets of New York, Andy is walking across the street and she sees Miranda Priestley coming out of an office and getting into a limo. And right before Miranda gets into the limo, she looks up, sees Andy across the street. Andy waves to her. Miranda doesn't wave back, just gets right into the limo. And Andy, I think, is kind of like, that checks out. That's Miranda.
Yeah.
She's kind of
moved
sucks.
on.
And then Miranda is driving off, and she kind of has a smirk on her face. Like, I think it's kind of ending in a, all things in the universe are well.
Yes.
Miranda's not bitter about it. She's just being Miranda. And actually, I think she's happy that Andy is going on to do bigger things or better things or whatever. And Andy's got this flourishing career.
Yeah, because you know what? If you think about it, Emily is in the same place Emily was when Andy started.
100%, yeah.
You put in a lot of dues with little return. Like, you got to work your butt off in order to get anything back.
Yep.
So, yeah, no, it was a great movie.
That's our movie.
So I want to play a Google game.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So the Google game is you have to guess. So there's 6 of them. It's going to start off with, did Anne Hathaway? And you're going to have to fill in the rest.
Okay. Do you have like the top 6 on the board?
The top 6 on the board.
Did Anne Hathaway date Jake Gyllenhaal?
It is not in there, but that is a really good
Love
one.
and Other Drugs, right? I would think that could have been something.
I forgot she was in Love and Other Drugs.
Okay,
Yep.
I'll do 3 guesses, and then you can just hit us with the actual
No,
ones.
that works.
Did Anne Hathaway, something about the Batman movie, like did she actually martial arts Batman, something along those lines?
Okay, so did Anne Hathaway play Catwoman?
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so these questions are a lot more simple than I'm going with.
100%.
Did Anne Hathaway... Is Anne Hathaway actually a princess? I don't know. Is that one of them?
Did Anne Hathaway sing in Ella Enchanted?
Okay, what are the rest?
The rest are, did Anne Hathaway win an Oscar?
Oh, that's a good question.
Did Anne Hathaway sing in Les Mis?
Oh, she was in Les Mis.
Yes,
that's
she
correct.
was, yes. Did Anne Hathaway go to college? Because lots of people want to know that, I guess. And this is the one that pretty much every celebrity at some point, I think, has. Did Anne Hathaway die?
Oh, yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
A lot of people need to know that.
Yeah, yes. So that's that. Good guesses, though. You got one that was kind of almost there.
Quick facts?
On the first day of filming, Meryl Streep told Anne Hathaway, I think you're perfect for the role. I'm so happy we're going to be working together. Then she paused and followed it up with, that's the last nice thing I'll say to you. And it was. Despite multiple fashion designer loans, Patricia Field spent more than $1 million on costuming, making it the most expensively costumed film in history. Field received her sole Oscar nomination for her work on this movie.
Wow.
All costumes were sold off at an auction for research of breast cancer. Anne Hathaway bought the green dress of her character that her character gets to wear.
The peacoat?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
And the one item Meryl Streep kept was her sunglasses, which she used again as Donna during the famous Money, Money, Money scene in the 2008 Mamma Mia.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
The character of Emily, played by Emily Blunt, was not supposed to be English in the script. Blunt thought it would be interesting and sound a bit more imperious. In several scenes, she is seen running around in the background, though never written nor directed. She felt her character would always be busy and wanted to keep her alive in the film. Notably, most of her wardrobe is from Vivienne Westwood.
Love that. I do agree with her thought process. Just something about a British accent sounds more scathing at times than like a normal North American accent.
Totally.
Just feels more rude.
At around 59 minutes, Emily Blunt has stated that that she stole a snarky line of dialogue that she heard coming from a mother yelling at her child on the street. That line was, "Yeah, I'm hearing this, and I want to hear this." It was accompanied by hand-talking gestures that Blunt also mimicked in the scene. Emily Blunt revealed in 2016 that every week, at least one stranger quotes a line from the movie to her. Her own husband, John Krasinski, jokes to have seen the movie 75 times. For the movie, only 2 days of production took place in Paris. Anne Hathaway really did go from a size 6 to a size 4 throughout filming, and she prepared for the part by volunteering for a week as an assistant at an auction house. 6 years after Stanley Tucci and Emily Blunt worked together on this movie, Stanley married Emily Blunt's sister, Felicity. Emily was a bridesmaid. The recurrent need for Hermès scarves comes from the novel, as in the novel, it is Miranda's trademark that she always has a white scarf somewhere on her person. Emily Blunt was discovered in a parking lot. She had been auditioning for Aragon in 2006, also a production by 20th Century Fox, but was turned down after multiple callbacks when a producer from Devil decided to put her on an audition tape. More than 100 actresses were considered for the part, and Emily Blunt had returned to England to recover when the Fox executives offered her another audition. This time they asked her to dress more like her character. In her tape, she wore jeans and flip-flops. This movie was filmed in 57 days. The final cut was finished in 3 weeks. Stanley Tucci was one of the last actors casted. He joined the cast the weekend before his first scene on Monday morning after 150 other actors were considered to play Miranda's loyal, quick-witted art director. The novel sold over 1 million copies, spent 10 weeks at #1, and spent a year on the New York Times bestseller list. The movie was also a box office smash hit. The novel has been published in over 40 languages. At around 5 minutes in the movie, the first bag we see Miranda carry into the office is, appropriately, a Prada bag. Anne Hathaway and Emily Blunt later reunited on Lip Sync Battle in 2015 for a Devil Wears Prada reunion battle. Hathaway and Blunt are good friends in real life, unlike their relationship in the film. Originally a spring release until 20th Century Fox decided to launch it as a counter-programming against Superman Returns in 2006. In the end, Devil Wears Prada actually outdid Superman at the international box office. Daytime scenes in Paris with Miranda and Andy in the back of a car. The S-Class Mercedes was physically cut in half in order to get the camera angles. It was a pre-production model that the makers could never have sold and would have been disposed of anyway. Jennifer Aniston, Cameron Diaz, Heather Graham, Angelina Jolie, Lisa Kudrow, Helen Mirren, Gwyneth Paltrow, Michelle Pfeiffer, Julia Roberts, Meg Ryan, Alicia Silverstone, Hilary Swank, and Naomi Watts were all considered for the role of Miranda Priestley.
Wow. I have one person who I think could come close.
Okay.
I'll talk about it later in my honorable mentions.
Okay, I like it.
I'm
excited.
Not a single one of them holds a candle to Meryl Streep in this, though.
I know, I agree.
No, like, those are amazing names, but it's Meryl Streep.
Yeah, you can't go wrong.
She is Miranda Priestley.
She is,
It was perfect.
Anne Hathaway was the 9th choice for the role of Andy, as the studio wanted an established dramatic actress over her and her then teen-oriented filmography. Anne Hathaway persisted, campaigning hard for the role all the way, going into Fox executives' offices pleading to be hired, explaining why she wanted to do it and why she wanted to play the role. It wasn't until Meryl Streep saw her performance in Brokeback Mountain that she called the studio to advocate for Anne Hathaway's casting in the film. Rachel McAdams was offered the role of Andy 3 times, only to turn them all down. Some of the other names that were considered were Scarlett Johansson, Natalie Portman, Kate Hudson, and Kirsten Dunst.
Those are all good choices. Rachel McAdams said no 3 times?
Yeah, I guess.
What?
I know. She would have been good, but I don't know.
She would have been really good.
Mm-hmm. Meryl Streep's daughter, Mamie Gummer, played a Starbucks clerk, but her scene was cut for pacing. This is the second movie where one of Anne Hathaway's characters has gone through a major makeover, the first, of course, being The Princess Diaries in 2001. In the book, Andy's boyfriend is Alex the teacher. In this movie, he is Nate the chef. 3 years after this movie's release, Meryl Streep and Stanley Tucci would go on to play wife and husband as the famous chef Julia Child and the American diplomat Paul Child in Julie and Julia in 2009. The scene where Andy missed Nate's birthday and comes in with a cupcake was originally going to be that they were all going to a concert and she showed up late, but it was too expensive and the studio needed to cut things. It's estimated that there were around $10 million worth of scenes nixed from the script for a $35 million budget, including an alternative ending for the couple, and the florals for spring. This bit was saved. This is the third movie starring Anne Hathaway, which features a best friend named Lily. The first 2 were The Princess Diaries and The Princess Diaries 2 Royal Engagement. Both Anne Hathaway and Stanley Tucci would go on to star in the remake of The Witches. That was done in 1990. Their most recent one was done in 2020. Emily and Nigel speak to each other briefly early on in the film, in the first scenes in the runway offices. The 2 characters don't speak to each other or even interact with each other again in the entire movie. Lauren Weisberger, the author of the book on which the film is based, has an uncredited cameo role as the twins' nanny. At around 1 hour and 35 minutes, in the last scene between Miranda and Andy, Andy asks Miranda if the lifestyle that Miranda led wasn't what she wanted. Miranda responds, "Everyone wants this. Everyone wants to be us." The original line was, "Everyone wants to be me." However, Meryl Streep didn't like this line, finding it too self-involved and dramatic. And at the table reading of the script, she organically changed the line to "Everyone wants to be us." The line obviously stuck and was used in the movie. When David Frankel was talking to Stanley Tucci about how he would react when he finds out that the job his character wanted is going to someone else, he told him to act like he had been nominated for an Oscar and just heard another actor's name called. Meryl Streep was standing nearby and said, "Oh, I can help with that." At around 1 hour and 40 minutes, the New York Mirror hires Andy. The Mirror was a real newspaper that ceased publication in 1898. It often published first editions of Edgar Allan Poe. Andy's eyeliner gets increasingly thicker during her time at Runway. It is at its thickest when she is in Paris getting ready for dinner with Christian. A few scenes later, when she meets Nate in the restaurant after quitting Runway, she is not wearing any eyeliner at all. This has been debated whether this is to symbolize her retreat from the fashion world.
Honorable mentions.
Honorable mention is the casting in this movie.
Okay.
I'm going to say just like the overall casting, because I know they went through so many people, as I mentioned in the quick facts, that in my honest opinion, like, I think they chose perfectly.
I will agree.
Okay.
And disagree at the same time.
Why?
Feels like a cop-out, but my honorable mention is Meryl Streep. And I know it's tough to honorably mention, like, the second biggest person in this movie.
No, I love it.
But I mention it because I think she's literally the only human on this planet that could nail that role. And you mentioned a lot of people in your quick facts of who was up for the role.
Yep.
But if I look at the other spots, like Anne Hathaway, fantastic. I think you probably could have found another Andy, though. Like, they wanted Rachel McAdams really bad. She could have been very, very good at that. Emily Blunt was great. Definitely possible that you could find another person to fill that role.
Oh, she was so good, though.
She was good.
God, I loved her.
Listen, everybody in this movie was so good.
Mm-hmm.
With that said, Meryl Streep, irreplaceable.
Agreed.
Impeccable. Like, that performance was perfect, and I am so confident that there is not a single other person that could do that role even, like, half as good.
Yeah.
You know?
I'm in agreement for sure.
The only person I thought of was Robin Wright. You know how she did the House of Cards series with Kevin Spacey on Netflix?
Oh, no.
That came out a few years after this.
Yeah.
So maybe.
No, I can't see that.
But still, I agree. I thought about Robin Wright, and I'm like, that she's still not. She's elegant, but she's too mean. Like, Meryl Streep had the perfect combination of everything.
You still, like I said at the beginning, you loved to hate her, but you still loved her.
There were times where you loved her.
You know, like you gave her the benefit of the doubt, or you knew it was her job, or just she was impeccable.
What should have been?
Okay, so my what should have been. I used to really, really want a sequel to this movie, but now watching this movie most recently, I think it is perfect the way it ended. Although, my one thing, and I don't think it's going to be the same as you. I can actually tell you 100% it is not the same thing as you.
Wow. Okay.
I would never get rid of the clothes that I received during Paris Fashion Week. Come on.
So unrealistic.
So unrealistic.
But with that scene, I think so. So Andy, after Paris Week, gives Fashion Week at Paris, gives all of her clothes to Emily, which was kind of like
mending. It was an olive branch,
extending the olive branch. And kind of trying to wrap up every loose end. My what should have been is that there's one loose end that I don't think we saw get tied up.
Oh, which is what?
It's Nigel.
Oh,
Stanley Tucci.
Oh, yes.
He gets brutally betrayed.
Yes.
And I would have just liked to have seen like a really quick something of him like walking into a different office. And don't even tell us, don't explain anything to it, but it speaks to the fact that maybe he's moving on from Runway and from Miranda Priestley because he realizes that he's never going to get ahead while he's there.
Yeah.
Just something to tell me that Stanley Tucci's going to be okay. All right? And before we get to rewatchability,
I have some info on just the background of this movie a little bit more. So I call it the Anna Wintour piece.
Because it's kind of thinly veiled that this story is likely about Anna Wintour?
Yeah, based on Vogue itself and Vogue magazine and the office, I guess, environment through this.
Because the original novel was somebody who was an assistant to Anna Wintour.
Or worked at Vogue. Runway is a fictitious version of Vogue. Anna Wintour, who is the editor of Vogue and the inspiration for Miranda Priestley, was not invited to the premiere. She did, however, attend an advanced screening for the press along with her daughter, dressed head to toe in Prada. Wintour's daughter could be heard nudging her throughout the screening. They got that right. Although never commenting on it publicly, she reportedly really liked the film despite initial skepticism. A fear of legendary Vogue editor Anna Wintour cast a shadow over the pre-production. Only Valentino, who had designed the black gown Meryl Streep wears in the museum benefit scene, chose to make an appearance, and one prominent supermodel, Gisele Bündchen, signed on for a small role and agreed to be in the movie only if she did not play a model. You will also see Heidi Klum in the background during one of the scenes, but she is not technically like in the movie. Author of the original novel, Lauren Weinsberger, reportedly based the character of Emily upon Plum Skies, writer and former assistant to Vogue editor-in-chief Anna Wintour. Skies worked at Vogue at the same time as Lauren. Writer Aline Brosh McKenna couldn't find anyone in the fashion world who'd talk to her as people were afraid to be blackballed by Anna Wintour and Vogue. She stated that there was one person who spoke to her who read the script and said the characters were too nice. No one in that world is too nice. They don't have to be, and they don't have time to be. After that, she did a pass to make everyone a bit busier and meaner. The only contact production had with Vogue was Jess Contour, the production designer who snuck in their offices to get a look at Anna Wintour's office. He was able to recreate it so authentically that it is said that Anna redecorated hers immediately after the movie came out. Production went for weeks being unable to secure locations due to people's loyalties to Anna Wintour, who felt that they were doing something that was detrimental or insulting to her. They worked around the fact that Meryl Streep, an admired and respected actress, wanted to do the movie. However, they couldn't secure Met Ball scenes as the Metropolitan Museum wanted nothing to do with them, nor Bryant Park because of Fashion Week, and co-op boards refused to let the production in on apartment buildings that were possibilities for Miranda's apartment.
Overall rewatchability. So my rewatchability is Chemistry, 4.75. The 0.25 I took away is because of Nate and Andy. All the other chemistry in this movie, although contentious, was electric. You know, the scenes with Andy, Emily, and Miranda Priestley, despite the fact that it's not like, you know, a romantic relationship, the chemistry was there between the other actresses on screen. Storyline, 5 out of 5. Thirst factor, 4 out of 5. Everything else, imagination, 5. Soundtrack, 5. Suddenly I see. Cheese, 5 for an overall score of 4.79 out of 5. It's nearly a perfect movie.
Okay, so my rewatchability is as follows. Chemistry, 4.85. Storyline, 5. Thirst factor, 4.5. Imagination, 5. Soundtrack, 4.5. Cheese, 4.5 for an overall score of 4.73.
Ooh, and this has been the Rom-Com Rewind of The Devil Wears Prada. If you're listening to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, leave a review, follow, subscribe, Instagram at Rom-Com Rewind, TikTok at Rom-Com Rewind.
Thanks for listening.
Ryan Seacrest here. When you have a busy schedule, it's important to maximize your downtime. One of the best ways to do that is by going to ChumbaCasino.com. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino games like spin slots, bingo, and solitaire that you can play for free for a chance to redeem some serious prizes. So hop on to ChumbaCasino.com now and live the Chumba life. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.